Good afternoon, everybody. Today we're leaving Eastland. And we're... Sorry, I just thought she dropped something. And we're heading... Oh, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a circuit of Eastland from the outside, just once around the whole building, and point out where the car parks are. And do a 360 video of it at the same time. So here I've got my dash cam going from Navman. I've got my speed limit alerts, which give me alerts for mobile or fixed cameras, mobile cameras, and speed signs in Victoria. So, and then I've also got my 360 degree camera attached to the passenger seat. So it's as though you're travelling with me as a passenger. So if I do a good job, you won't be scared, but if I do a bad job, well, you can tell me off. Feel free to add a comment, but a nice one, please. I accept no profanity on my website. I accept nobody having goes at each other. I encourage people to post things, ask questions about speed camera locations, and if anybody has a go at anybody else, you won't see those posts because I simply delete them. There's other forums where people post for a question and they get hammered, insulted, and I don't want that to be my side. I'll leave that to the other sides, and you know probably from your experience which sides they are. If you come to my site, you're treated with respect. You might have done something that others people would consider silly, lacking of intelligence or whatever, but I don't care. It's what you did, and we all make mistakes, and we're all people. We all deserve respect. So if I ever don't respect people and what they're saying or doing, please pull me up on it. I don't mind. I'm human and I can make mistakes, but generally speaking, I want people to have their say. So here we are. There's multiple entrances. They're even numbered, heaven forbid. I often would come through that direction into parking area number 5, but you can actually drive through most of it to all the others. So that's, I come in that one there just off the bypass. It might be number 1, I don't know. And number 5 is another one that I use, coming from along Whitehorse Road through the back streets there, past Costco and into number 5. And you saw when I just left, that's another entrance that I come if I come via Ringwood or Mitcham, whatever that, Warrandyte, Ringwood Road. So lots of parking in there. It gets busy at this time of the year because of Christmas and New Year. Lots of people on holidays, but lots of people inside the shopping centre. Roads tend to be a bit quieter though, because people are just chilling out and taking it easy, which is a good thing to do at this time of the year. We're coming up to a
red light, speed camera ahead. The speed limit is 60 kilometres.
Now you'll see that that's the dash cam, and mine spoke quietly, so I had to turn up the volume to let me know there's a camera nearby. I'll probably change that message to say fixed camera nearby, to distinguish it between mobile cameras and mobile phone seatbelt cameras. I want my speed limit alerts to be useful to people. There's different risks associated with each of the reports, as in If there's a police car on the right hand side there, it's moving, you might get pulled over by it. So there's a risk, but that's not the risk that the speed limit alerts is all about. It's not about police driving along or picking up their lunches at McDonald's and reporting them. The only ones that I'm interested in seeing is if there's a stationary police car or a police officer that's basically taking the speed of cars. So this is all about the speed limits and breaking the road laws. And you can, if you know that they're coming, or you can adjust your behaviour, you can avoid those fines. If you're doing something wrong, you're drunk, you're drugged, all of those things, then that's a different police matter and not to do with what I'm interested in with the speed limit alerts. So that's working fine. That will assist me as I'm driving, make sure I keep within inside the speed limits, and alerts me to the fixed cameras that are located around the place, and also other cameras that people may report. And certainly each morning I get up and at the moment putting in the alerts for the morning before I head off. So here we are, we're at the Whitehorse Road. We've got the railway station on the right hand side, a transit area for buses and the like. On the left hand side we have Eastland. It's been extended extensively. This road used to be probably 60, it's now 40 going past here. It's a Vic Road there, not the one where you go for your driving test though. So that's down Heatherdale Road or something, I think it is. Heatherdale, I don't know. One of those two. So it's just a pedestrian crossing and across to the railway station. It's a fairly new railway station as well. So coming along here, these are, if you're coming from Ringwood Warrandyte, here's another group of entrances to the parking. Turn right there, you head down in the back area there. It's the Aquanation for swimming pool, fitness centres down there. And then we have the other parking areas. I used to park in this one for quite some time, but then they put the better turning arrow down here, which is not usually a turning arrow, but this is the other parking area that I use, number 8. Generally nowadays though, most of the time I come in from the other side, which we'll just go past one more time, so we've done a complete circuit of Eastland. So the Ringwood Bypass is quite good to get here. You come down there, be careful, there's often a speed mobile seatbelt camera, down there on the right hand side. Because of the dip after you're coming along, it's quite easy to go up a few kilometres per hour. The pedestrian should always pay attention to what cars could be around you, because it's a joint responsibility. It's not one or the other. You think you have right of way, but you should always consider your safety first and foremost. Right of way really doesn't matter. There's no such thing as right of way. Somebody hits you, right of way doesn't count for very much. And I've seen people get hit on a pedestrian crossing and the actual person claimed that they were walking against the traffic light, and the police said that it was the pedestrian's fault. It was a little old lady that got knocked over a fair while to get across. And so I was turning, I was a couple of cars back, and that lady got knocked over. Now there's no reason to hit a pedestrian ever. You're turning, you're not going that fast, you can stop. So to actually hit somebody shows to me pretty much negligence, but the police said no, the pedestrian was in the wrong. And I'm thinking, I don't think so. But back then didn't have dash cams, didn't record the information, so people would say what they like. But it becomes a little bit harder now, because if you knock somebody over, somebody behind you has probably got a dash cam, so they will see what you're doing even if you don't think it is. So if it's serious, they will stop and assist. And their information could be used against you or for you. So that can work two ways. I'm in an accident, it shows the other person at fault, or I'm at fault. It can literally hurt me having a dash cam in a car. But ultimately,
Red
if
light
I'm in the
speed
wrong,
camera
I'll
ahead.
accept that.
The
I'll pay
speed limit is
the penalty, and
60
if
kilometres.
somebody else is in the wrong, well, it's easy to actually check that information. But ultimately, right or wrong, the car's insured, and I don't particularly see there's an excess. And my car was dented by a person off the bit troppo, and I ended up paying that money. I never saw a cent back, so even though it was not my fault, I wonder how many people actually get their excess back even when it's not their fault. So I doubt if the insurance companies care unless they lose, and at the end of the day it's a numbers game for them. And really, that person who was had gone troppo, there was something wrong. They need assistance, they need help, more than anything else. And hopefully that they could get the assistance that they needed. They did damage to about a dozen cars. And not good. Now I'm just going down this road. This goes past the there's a brand new building up there on the corner. I don't know what that is. And down here is your Costco, for Ringwood Costco. So taking a while. I've never been, there's not much that interests me in Costco. There's a couple of things that I've found to be good value, but overall I can get better value from the specials at supermarkets for most of the things that I want or need. We've got a family or membership in there with the family, and so we can go in there and check out what we want when we want. But from one year to another, some of us never go there. So really, and just work out what if you get a 10% discount or whatever off your stuff, $60 a year or whatever it is for a membership. That means you have to have $600 worth of purchases. We don't buy $600 worth of purchases. And as I said, most of the things you just look at the supermarkets and the discounts on the supermarkets, and you can get them at better prices. I have Milo cereal. They have the big boxes there, but at the end of the day, the half-price Milo that comes up every month or so is better value than a Costco. So anyway, other people love it. Good luck to them. This is a McDonald's I sometimes frequent. Remember the good old days when I had actually right of way and could turn left or couldn't turn right there, where the left turners had to give way. That was an interesting change. Really not much it was done. Every Victorian had to change their driving behaviour. It was pretty impressive. And they did. And I really didn't see anything untoward happen with people changing. Obviously there were probably a few accidents. And you know, sometimes because you got trained to get your license and you've done it for so many years, as an older person, sometimes if you're not thinking about something, you can slip back into the old habits, because they actually become automatic habits. Just like just then, I was looking out, I saw that green. I'm looking forward, and those lights changed, and if you notice, there was a slight movement of the car, very, very slight. I went to take my foot off the brake, and then realised that these lights closer were actually still red. But it's a fairly common mistake. I've actually made that at least once or twice in my life, where I've been looking at the other lights, or the wrong lights, or the lights in the distance. There are some that are so close to the lights that really you just don't even know they're a different set of lights, and your focus is on things in the distance more, because that's where the threats are, than the things that are close up. Now, I don't know, one of the things with my speed limit alerts coming along here.
School zone ahead. The speed limit is 40 kilometres.
The dash cam is saying 40 ahead, the nav man. It's actually not 40 in any case. It's actually 60 if it was a school period. I'm not certain, but I have to think, because I don't have kids at school anymore. I have grandchildren, and I have to think about what day of the week it is and what week of the year it is. But I know that it's just after New Year, so it's not school time. So this road is 80 kilometres an hour. My speed limit alert says 80. The dash cam says 40, and if I was using Waze, it would probably say it was 60. So in any case, the only device or application that assists and gets the right information there is mine. All the others are wrong. So, and it's the way it's designed actually. The instructions to editors for Waze is if there's two different speed limits, to pick the higher speed limit. The government data I was reading the other day, if there's two different speed limits, they can only include one speed limit in their data that's made public, and if you read that, they actually provide the lowest of the speed limits. So that can actually give you the wrong information when it comes to a variable time if you don't take into account all of the information. So I wrote the speed limit alerts for myself because it gives me more peace of mind, helps me to keep focus on what's important. What I didn't know actually, which is really interesting, was often I'm driving along and I'm thinking, where is the speed sign? Where is the speed sign? And I'm thinking to myself, like, you get up to here and you think, where's the speed sign? And you're driving along, or you're just driving and you think, oh, I must check the speed. There are no speed signs, and you're thinking, what's going on? But the general rule is, after an intersection within 50 metres to 250 metres, they should have a speed sign, and then possibly, sometimes, not always, they have reminder signs further on. So where you have to pay attention the most is actually at the intersections, and the major intersections. So you'll turn onto a road and you'll get, like here, we go through this intersection and you'll see that there's a speed limit further on. There will be reminders because it's a major road, but in my area where I live on Reynolds Road, Foot Street, you turn off Blackburn Road left into going west into Reynolds Road, and there's one speed sign saying 70 kilometres an hour. Often a mobile speed camera will sit there and catch people who are speeding. So there's only one sign to let you know what the speed is, and then the next one is quite a long distance away.
School zone ahead.
Quite a few kilometres.
The speed limit is
before you actually
40 kilometres.
Now, there's another interesting one. The nav man just told me it's 40 kilometres because there's a school zone. There is no school zone here. Well, there is a school, but there's a bridge that's 80 kilometres an hour. So nav man is telling me 40, but the actual speed on this road is 80 kilometres an hour. So the speed alert. So if you're looking at getting a navman safety camera which provides speed alerts, they're okay because they do let you know where the speed cameras are, or the fixed speed cameras are. But really, they've got so many errors. I personally think just get a cheaper one when they're on special. You can get some great specials, not the 140 or 145, the 160, or one of the other ones, and match it up with your phone. Let your phone give you the alerts, because the phone apps are so much better and so much more up to date. And so this dash cam I got was 4K. I really got the 4K. The 4K gives me literally, I can see, say, a number plate at twice the distance. So these dash cams, if I was at that intersection, this car in front of me, halfway through the intersection, is when the number plate starts becoming unreadable. If it was over the other side of the intersection, it would not be readable. The 4K allows me to double the distance basically. So the distance between here versus here, that's not huge. So I got the 4K to do these videos. That was the main thing. If I wasn't doing videos, I just wanted to prove what roughly happened as a result of
red light speed camera ahead. The
a
speed
car
limit is
accident or proof of it.
80 kilometers.
Car accident. Then I don't think that the 4K is needed. What's good about the new 160, particularly if you can get it on a good discount, you've got to be really careful with the turns there, because there's times where you can't see any of the lights. But anyway, and it's a speed camera.
School zone ahead. The speed limit is 40 kilometers.
Again, no speed, no school zone here. It's an old school, gone for years, and that man, which I bought probably a year ago, did not have anywhere near up-to-date data. So now I've lost my train of thought, unfortunately, but anyway, we're going along here. Speed limits are all okay. So down here I'm just going to duck onto the freeway for a bit of a change, and you can I was just over the just as I reached I get about 50 meters notice before I reach the speed sign, so as typically most people do, they speed up a little bit. I was doing 1 or 2 kilometers over the limit just as I came up to that 80. So it tells me to slow down, and rightfully so. The speed limit is the speed limit until you pass the sign, not before. So you shouldn't be speeding up until you actually reach the sign. Very common mistake. Very easy to get booked for that. Now you have to wonder if this is a mobile speed camera. I can't tell. The glass is too dark for me to see through, so beautiful day. Look at that sky. The weather's beautiful. It's good to be alive. We have lots of problems in the world, but really when you're just in your own little bubble, not as many problems. And the media makes us think that there's so much happening, but really it's happening everywhere else, not around you. You got to remember there's 27 million people in Australia, and some of these things are happening. Yes, it will affect other people, and in not a good way, and it's bad news, but it's not affecting most people at the point in time, a very small group of people. But that builds up an idea that it's dangerous. It's dangerous to drive on the roads because there's so many people die on the roads or in accidents on the roads. And yes, it's a dangerous activity. You have to drive defensively. Other people drive aggressively, which doesn't help you one little bit. Now I might I'll get off at Middleborough Road. It'll be good for a change. Probably the way I'd get off anyway. But you can see, look, most people are obeying. It's amazing. They really are obeying the speed limits. They're obeying the laws. They're all driving very well, indicating when they should. They're not zipping around. It's only a very small group of people that race along and are only focused on what they're focused on themselves. But the majority of people, we really do work great as a society together. Just have a look at it. We're all working to get from A to B together without any major incident. Sometimes some people screws up for whatever reason, makes a mistake, is driving inappropriately, whatever the reason may be, and then it's a bad situation for all concerned. But you got to look at it. I've been driving for nearly the best part of 50 years. and I've not been in an accident. Now, I did ride a motorbike at one stage, and I did fall off that bike a couple of times. Tram tracks are, when they get wet, they're not your friend. You put both wheels onto a tram track and off the bike goes. In fact, when I got my license, part of it was driving in the city, and I had the instructor driving along behind me, and they told me where to go. They actually told you, and then you went ahead and did it. Then you stopped, and they told you where to go again. And so it was a bit funny in a way, thinking back then. And I went around the corner that had tram tracks, and the instructor said, "Why did you not move to the left sooner?" And I sort of said, "Well, look, I've actually gone over tram tracks, and if I don't feel the angle is right, I didn't move until the angle was right, because there was a small amount of light rain. They were going to cancel it, but luckily it was very light and went ahead, otherwise I would have had to go back in again." So I just said that, and that was accepted. So I probably lost some points for not moving into the correct lane, or left lane, fast enough after the curve. But I felt it was safer to do what I did. And yeah, there were other things back then. We all had the distorted mirrors to give us a better view behind us, and you had your own motorbike, but you had to put your old mirrors back on again, because if your mirrors were distorted, it was immediate failure. So you had to make sure that your vehicle met the standards that they were interested in, which is what everybody does. When they go for their driver's license, they don't drive as they drive on the road. They drive to what the driving tester is after. And you can just see it as soon as people get their license. It's really quite amazing. You go for one 25-minute drive and you get your license. Now, you may be unlucky and you get a bad driving situation. A car cuts in front of you. Something happens which is unexpected because of your lack of experience. But you get a bad day, or he takes you on a difficult course that you've not experienced before, and you don't get your license. Another person has a brilliantly simple day. Everything goes right for them. They might be worse drivers than you, but they get their license. I just have a feeling that that just one test, and I personally think that maybe they're talking about older people like me, need to be retested. And I really think that maybe what they could do is put a camera in each person's car and get them to drive around for a week. And yeah, they'll obey all the rules, but if they've got some bad habits, those bad habits will be seen. So a 125-minute test won't pick up anything, but with the technology that's available to us today, we can do it so much better and pull people up on their bad habits. There are a lot of people with terrible habits. Now, you've probably seen a couple of habits of mine already that I'm not aware of or am doing that could be improved. Maybe just then I pulled up a little bit fast to the car in front of me. I don't know. I try to leave an appropriate amount of distance, but I'm not perfect, and I do try my best, as I think most people do. I don't hoon around. I'm not that type of person. I might miss a speed sign, hence my speed limit alerts. It lets me know that I'm actually driving at this right speed. So it's, and that's what I was talking about earlier on that I just forgot, was about where the speed signs are at intersections. Shortly after you turn, you'll see that's where you'll see the speed limit signs. And then if you're lucky, there's reminder signs, but sometimes there's not reminder signs. So here we turn, and here we have a speed sign. Maybe a reminder sign looking down further. In some places, I don't think there's sufficient signage. I don't think the signage around Melbourne is good enough. I was driving in Northern Ireland and I was amazed that shortly after seeing one sign, and that sign was gone, just like there, actually, it was pretty good. Just after that sign was gone, it was a little while later and you saw the next sign. So you knew exactly what speed you were meant to be doing at all times. So maybe it was just the main roads that I was driving on, but I was very impressed. In Australia, I find that the signage for turns is terrible. It seems to be that it's either just before the wrong road or too late, so that you don't have enough time to turn. So each country is different and has different rules, and some of the things that we take for granted, some of the things we miss. Some of it's our own training, in all honesty. So I've noticed a lot of people don't understand the single white line and what it represents, what it means. In fact, I didn't at one stage. A single white line, could I turn down the street and cross the single white line? And the answer is yes, but I was told that single white lines are like the old double white lines. I got trained with double white lines, but they're not quite the same. And double white lines mean different things in different states. So the finer points, most of us don't bother with the finer points. I like to learn and continually learn. It's just my nature to learn. I like detail. Other people don't like detail. We're all different.
Slow down.
Now I'm doing 50 according to my speedo. My speed limit alerts picked up the satellite and it jumped up to 55. So that shows you that I've actually correlated mine with other apps, other commercial apps, and Waze gives exactly the same readings. So Waze would be reporting the same in terms of speed, so I got to slow down. But in actual fact, I was doing the legal speed limit, and the GPS readings were not correct. So if you're using a GPS, you have to consider that at some points in time, your GPS will actually be reading incorrectly. Other times, going up hills, down hills, taking off, particularly taking off and slowing down, your GPS will not catch up fast enough. Your speedo is more accurate. Your speedo will be out by about 3 or 4 kilometers an hour, and you can calibrate that by using an app to test what your speedo is at various speeds, and you'll know that it's out. But because you know it's out, it's always accurate. Because you know it's out by 4 kilometers an hour, then you know it's accurate. Because you can take off the 4 kilometers an hour and take that into account, but your GPS will go up and down and fluctuate. So some of these, and it's a really good test, some of these readings are actually shows the inaccuracy of the GPS system. Anyway, thank you again for joining me on this ride. Thank you for having a chat. It certainly helps to pass the time, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching.